Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 8 of Building a Minecraft City. This episode is called First Impressions because we are going to be working on structures that are close to the north side where the bridge comes in, right? So it's the first impressions of the city if you were entering in from that side. Not really supposed to be any kind of city planning term or any kind of teaching lesson today, just the title I came up with before I finished in order to match everything that I built together. I'm a very sporadic person and I tend to just go from one thing to the next, especially within this city. So trying to fit all of these builds together, as soon as I came up with it, I was like, well, that's what it's going to be. So there you go. Sometimes I come up with the thumbnail after I record the video. This time I came up before I finished, so there you go. So as always, I'm keeping this beginning segment short. So I hope you enjoy this episode. See you later. So, as I said in the beginning, this episode is about impressions, first impressions, right? So, I wanted to focus on what are you going to see when entering this side of the island. So, you can see some of the stuff we worked on here coming into view. Not all of it, obviously, some of it's just like vaguely nearby. But I wanted to work more on this side of the island. This is what I felt like doing, so I did it. What you didn't see in the time lapse is basically everything under here. So this gas station, which is just me recoloring a design I had made forever ago that I'm really happy with. But yeah, so the convenience store is original, but it's just copying the same color scheme as the actual gas pumps here, and the sign is obviously original, but that's pretty easy to do. Of course, where the sign is kind of doesn't make any sense, just showing you back here. I really like what I did back here. I think it's kind of cool. The sign doesn't really make that much sense because you're only going to be able to see it if you're on this lane here, which goes back on the bridge to leave. So, but there's not really anywhere else to put it. I mean, I could turn it so that it's facing this road here, but you're not going to see it from this direction. And then even from this direction, you're probably going to have a hard time considering you have all these overpasses there. Maybe I turn it. Maybe I do that right now. You're not going to really be able to see it because, again, this Axiom doesn't really work with shaders. But, oh, yeah, see? There we go. Yeah, that probably makes more sense to be facing this way. Might make it a little bit taller, but I think it's tall enough. And realistically, the city wouldn't want a massive billboard here. The gas station that's here would have fought really hard to get a very visible sign, but the city wouldn't particularly want a bunch of neon signs or, road use signs all over the place, especially not super tall ones, but they would have conceded at least something because of the placements. It's like, you're gonna have to have something. But beyond this, I think, they're not going to give them any more than that. It's visible from this direction, so you can see it driving up on this larger road, so it's there. We also built this building over here, which again, I started work around here at the parking lot, did some handicap spaces over there, and trying to fit it in with all of the highway braces or trusses. No, pillars? I guess you could just say pillars. I mean, it's a little bit more because they have these bars that connect. I can't think of the word right now. But the point is, trying to navigate in between those is semi-challenging. I had to orient the whole parking lot around it to fit, and now my computer's going really loud. I apologize. I should turn down the render distance. No, I won't. Then I built this building here, which is very similar to a lot of other buildings. It's very simple, easy to do. Honestly, you're gonna have this is one of those filler buildings that's taller and nice looking, but it is a filler building. And I don't know if I said this in a previous episode, but don't be afraid of having filler buildings. I'm going to have many of them. There's going to be many buildings that are going to look almost the exact same as others, or at least be a similar style, or just a slightly different color of the same style or whatever. Don't worry about doing that because no one's really going to notice once you have a city that's big enough. The whole point is for them to fade into the background. Then we're over here with these two new additions. Obviously, these are kind of vaguely new additions because you haven't really seen them in depth. But yeah, I'm really proud of these buildings, especially this one here. I think it works real well. I love it a lot. The backs haven't really been done yet, but again, this, I'm just not. To be honest, I've been really busy this week. The first part of this episode was actually before I went on vacation and before episode 7 was even done filming, which is, I think, this building here and the one behind it. I can't even remember if I recorded some of these buildings, honestly, because it's been well over a week now because I had spring break. So I went away on vacation. So I had to finish episode 7 and I started episode 8 beforehand because I didn't have this last week to do anything because I was away and busy. And then I came back and have still been busy doing stuff at home. So it's been trying to fit in things in between. This week has been crazy and this episode has kind of lacked because of it, but I'm really happy with what I did. I love this theater building. I can't remember where I saw it, the inspiration for it, but I love it. And I love especially how it caps off this road now, because having a theater there with that facade, and seeing all those buildings in the back, this is such a beautiful street to drive down now. Like, this is great. That like cascading kind of building effect coming down is really lovely. Yeah, I'm really happy. I love this building here. It's the first building in the city that's fully on a diagonal and not just one facade is on a diagonal or two. And there's going to be more buildings like this in the future, especially when we get to downtown. There's going to be a lot more like curved roads and angled roads and less of this more formal grid. But I'm basing the city off of New York, and it's easier to build in straight lines, so I'm working with a grid, and I want most of it to be a grid, but with bits and pieces that are off kilter. Like here, these kind of roads come out, and it creates some really interesting buildings and spaces when you do that. So you can start to see here, right, we have one curved road here, and there's going to be more curved roads down here and angled roads and things that are going to break up the grid a bit more in this area here where we have our downtown. So we're going to get a lot more buildings like this, and they're fun to build. Once you can figure it out, I mean, they're not always fun to build because they can be extremely challenging, but once you get into the rhythm, they're fun to complete, I guess. They're not fun to plan out, but they're fun to finish and look at them and just be like, wow, that's cool. I think angles in Minecraft can either be extremely forgiving or extremely damaging, right? This building doesn't have a lot of detail, but it's able to get away with that. Not a lot of detail or depth because you get detail and depth from it being at an angle because it's a cube game. It's a voxel game. So you're able to get away with, these kinds of design things that you wouldn't be able to get away with if it were a completely straight building, which is nice. I want to put a mural on this wall here just because I think it would be fun to be able to see it from the road back here, but I'm not sure what I want to put there yet as a mural, so it hasn't been done. And to be honest, I mean, that's basically it. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Apologies if it's a bit short. I imagine it will be. I haven't edited down the time-lapse section yet, so I genuinely don't know. But whatever is there is what's being released. Hopefully it's more than 15 minutes, but we'll see. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please do think about liking and subscribing if you want to do those things. And I hope you have another great week. I'll see you next week with a longer episode and more to do. I already know what I'm going to do, so there you go. Bye-bye.